In today's video, we bring you some of the most useless megaprojects in the world. Number 5. Brazil's controversial stadium in the rainforest. Brazil famously hosted the 2014 Football World Cup, and for a country so obsessed with the sport, it was a pretty big deal. However, the country needed a lot of renovations to be ready for the showpiece event. In total, Brazil had to build 12 new football stadiums and renovate some old ones. This massive megaproject was going to cost Brazil a total of $11 billion. But despite the immense cost, the country was looking forward to showing its passion for the sport to the whole world. But, as in many countries that host a World Cup, these huge megaprojects are not necessarily economically viable in the long run. Critics and economic consequences are often overlooked to deliver the best show possible for the World Cup. In many ways, the whole project didn't make any economic sense. But the most obvious was the construction of the Arena da Amazônia in Manaus, which took 4 years to build and cost around $250 million. The construction itself was no easy task. Manaus is Brazil's 7th largest city, but it is located in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. This remote location poses difficult challenges in moving large amounts of goods. Many of the materials used for the stadium's construction were shipped from Portugal and navigated through the Amazon River. This entire journey took 3 weeks, which made the construction process more costly. Number 4. China's abandoned ghost cities. China's rise as a major economic power in the early 2000s was accompanied by a real estate boom. Megaprojects sprung up all over the country, and its major cities became home to some of the world's most famous skyscrapers. However, not all of these projects were a success. In fact, China has accumulated plenty of ghost cities that cost billions to build but have largely remained empty. For today's video, we turn to China's Hebei province, which is home to one such project. The Xiangyun International Project is an 1,800-acre development in Shijiazhuang that was dubbed as a city within a city. Developed at a cost of $3 billion, the project consisted of 2 parts: a bigger high-end residential community with apartments and theme parks, and a smaller commercial hub containing shopping complexes and skyscrapers. The location of the project is very convenient, as it is built right next to a high-speed train stop and in close proximity to underground metro stations. This location isn't at all isolated like some of the other projects we have featured in this series. So how did this enormous project end up abandoned with almost no population? When the project was first announced, there was a lot of positive excitement. 700 housing units were quickly sold, but in 2014, the construction was stopped abruptly as the real estate company behind the project was put under investigation by the local authorities. By 2017, the charges of corruption were proved and the main developer landed in jail. Consequently, the property prices saw a sharp decline and the company declared bankruptcy. As of now, thousands of homeowners have not been able to move in because the project has been confiscated by the government. The half-finished development remains unused to this day, and the already developed areas have started deteriorating. Strangely, traffic can be heard roaring across the streets just outside the district, but inside, it paints a picture of a ghost town that is only inhabited by stray animals. These days, the Xiangyun International Project is more of a tourist attraction than a residential development. It is often visited by bloggers and YouTubers who are fascinated by such a huge abandoned site and want to tell its story. There's no official indication that the project will resume anytime soon, and it looks like this $3 billion megaproject will only be visited by adventurers. Number 3. The world's emptiest airport. In 2009, the island nation of Sri Lanka just ended its deadly civil war. The victorious president, Mahinda Rajpaksha, immediately made up plans to give the country an economic push. At the time, the country's biggest city, Colombo, was the only city with an international airport. However, that was all about to change as the president envisioned a second commercial hub in the Hambantota region, located 250 kilometers away from the former capital. This region was already experiencing a massive construction boom, and a new seaport was built there with the help of China, a partner willing to invest billions into infrastructure projects. The next big plan was to build Sri Lanka's second international airport in the small town of Mattala, located just outside of Hambantota city. At the time, a government agency submitted a report advising against the construction of a second international airport at Mattala. The report concluded that the money would be better spent on extending the international airport in Colombo instead. However, the government ignored the warning and still went through with the plan. Construction began in November 2009, and the airport was completed in just over 3 years. It was named after the president himself and officially opened for flight operations in March 2013. The total cost of the project was $210 million, 190 of which were loaned by China. The Mattala Rajpaksha International Airport is a modern airport by any standard. It can handle up to 1 million passengers every year and has a 35-meter-tall air traffic control tower. Its proximity to Sri Lanka's most famous tourist attractions makes it an ideal location for many travelers, so there was some optimism when the airport was opened. While it looked like a reasonable project at first, the red flags were always there, most important of which is its geographic location. The airport is located in a small city with a population of just 20,000 people, a third of which live below the poverty line, so the local demand for the airport is non-existent. Even though it's close to many tourist hotspots, a lack of effective transportation makes it less desirable for travelers. In 2014, the airport was used by 3,000 flights and serviced 50,000 passengers. For an airport designed to serve 1 million passengers, the numbers were too low. But the worst was yet to come. Due to low demand, the airliners were quick to cancel operations, and within a year, it was registering losses of $18 million per year. Even Sri Lanka's state airline stopped operating flights at the start of 2015 after Rajapaksa's defeat in the elections. With no demand and rarely any traffic, the wild animals in the vicinity started to outnumber the people using the airport. On one occasion, the government had to employ 300 soldiers to chase the wild animals away from the premises. Its huge area was also used as a rice storage warehouse to reduce losses. Mattala Rajapaksa was making all the wrong headlines, and in 2016, Forbes termed it as the world's emptiest airport. In 2018, the airport was completely abandoned when Fly Dubai, the only airline still using it, stopped its operations. Critics claim that the project was not economically viable from the start, and that it was developed simply because Hambantota was the home region of the former president. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa has been accused of pushing the country further into China's debt trap, especially after his seaport project also failed. The airport became briefly operational during the COVID-19 pandemic as the demand for return flights grew. Its long-term future, however, remains uncertain, with no clear plan in place. Number 2. America's largest failed science project. We start today's list with one of the largest physics megaprojects in history. When completed, the superconducting super collider in Texas would consist of a circular tunnel system around Waxahachie that would serve as the world's most energetic particle accelerator. Number 1. The most useless hotel in the world. Next on the list is the tallest unoccupied building in the world, also known as North Korea's Tower of Doom. North Korea isn't too keen on hosting tourists. The state's policy of secrecy and regulation of any interaction between the locals and foreigners means the country isn't a major tourist attraction. However, this reluctance to host tourists wasn't always there. In the 1980s, North Korea, fueled by its rivalry with South Korea, planned on hosting thousands of foreign visitors in the world's tallest hotel. What is your opinion about these failed megaprojects? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to see more about similar projects, you can watch part 1 of this series, or our video about the biggest megaprojects never finished. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.